Okay, well, hey neighbors, welcome to the Shed Shop. In this edition of I've been up for 2.5 days. Due to doctor's appointments, scheduling, being behind on bills, getting inundated with work, excruciating, agonizing physical pain, the Chainsaw Redeemer has not slept much, and I really should be in bed right now. But Grady is coming over tomorrow to pick up his Hyper Tough trimmer, and I can't do nothing about his 128 LD HUSQVARNA trimmer because we're waiting on a carb kit. But his 41, I can. So this edition of Dr. Diagnostics, this edition of How To, this edition of I showed you the Dr. Diagnostics on this saw, and so I told you this saw wasn't idling, and I told you if we found a different issue, I'd let you guys know in a different video. So here we are. Right now, I have finally found my air leak, okay? It's back here on our intake setup here. I don't know if there's a grommet behind this shield or not, but basically, that's where our air leak is. And so, my hope was that, because right now I have a customer that's got 7 saws here, and they want to wait until all their saws are done before they pick up their other chit, or any of their chit, and pay any of their bill. And my challenge is, when I have 12 saws sitting here, total, that are ready to be picked up and paid for, the Chainsaw Redeemer needs to get paid. I'm not making any money on selling saws right now. I did sell several saws recently, which is good. But right this moment, I haven't sold a saw in a week. And actually a little longer than a week. And so, what happens is, a lot of my customers live an hour or 2 hours away. And so, it could be a week, 10 days, 15 days before they come get their equipment. And so that means, if I have several people that do that, all that work I did that week, it could be weeks before I get paid. So I did tell that neighbor that, listen neighbor, I'm so sorry, but I am going to have you kind of come, you know, because the initial agreement was they have like 20 saws they want worked on. I said, neighbors, that's fine, because what they said they wanted to do was they drop off 7, and they'd come back after I finished a couple and bring a couple more. And then today he told me he wants to wait until they're all done to come get them all. And I just said that simply is not going to work. But anyways, my hope is that neighbor Grady can pick up 2 pieces of equipment tomorrow so that I can get a little bit extra money in my pocket to pay on my credit card. Because the Chainsaw Redeemer is getting raped in interest right now. And it's absolutely destroying my business. Okay, so I have two 4mm screws here, it looks like, to remove this shroud. This intake shroud here. I had a 4mm set up here. I don't know where it's gone. I really don't want to hand turn. Here it is. Okay, but I'm going to grab an extension to make it easier. Okay, and we will get these 2 4mm out and see what we can do. I'm hoping just to, you know, we can take some Bond or something back here, if it's just a rubber grommet, and repair it, unless we have a hole in a boot or whatever. I'm not quite sure until we get the shroud off and get all the way back there what we have going on. I'm not super familiar with the setup of the 41. You guys know I know my steels a lot better than I do my HUSQVARNAs and anything else. Okay, so looks like that rubber grommet just kind of pops out, and same with your air mover. We will go ahead and disconnect this wire from our kill switch to kind of give us a little more space over here. Okay, and in looking at this, I don't see any more screws. It looks like it would just come off. We don't want to break nothing though. Okay, yeah, there is a regular round intake boot, and I actually do have one of those in stock, fortunately. Ow, damn, burnt myself, neighbors. Burnt myself good. Shit. I do have one of those in stock, fortunately, I believe. But I'm looking at it, just, this thing is tight on here, and we don't want to break it, okay? It seems like it's kind of got to go up and over at the same time. Sometimes you actually have to remove your cylinder on this crap. Okay, we got a little tiny impulse line right there, it looks like. No. Okay, neighbors, I'm just trying to figure out. We don't want to break this shroud. I do have a 41 in stock, or a HUSQVARNA 41 that I have that's a partial. It's missing a carburetor, so yeah, it's leaking right here on this. And when I put these on, I always do Bond anyways. And so I know I've got a brand new one. It's aftermarket, but on this particular intake boot, the aftermarket felt fine. I haven't used OEM one, but I'm going to look and clean it up, and we're going to see does it have any holes in it or anything. And it doesn't appear so. So I'm willing to bet even just some Yamabond would reseal this up. It actually appears that somebody may have done that in the past. There's a bunch of crud back there. Schmutz, right? Greasy shop rag. Okay, so I think that's probably going to be the only issue on his 41. And I do have until tomorrow afternoon. I'm trying to think. I know I might even have an OEM one. I've got a couple of these that are new. I know one's aftermarket. I don't know if the other one's aftermarket or OEM. But again, it's literally, I could probably reuse this with Yamabond. But if I have a new one that's OEM, I'd rather do that so we don't have to risk air leaks. This is just another prime example, you guys. I tell you guys all the time about my prices and how some people say my prices are too high. I have saws like this come into my shop all the time. People have either bought them at auction or bought them used on Marketplace or bought them used on eBay or OfferUp. And the saws run, but they are told they're ready to go, and then they go to cut with it and it doesn't work. Or they bring it to my shop and say it's not running right, and I start it, and then the sprocket nose tip just blows apart with my customer right here in the shop with me. Okay, so we also need to get him a 16-inch bar, which is the other thing I just realized. But I might be able to order him one, and he can pay me for it, and I'll have it shipped to his house from Amazon if he doesn't have Amazon Prime to order it himself. So the other thing, I'm going to have to throw this through an ultrasonic, because we want to make sure that it's very hard to see with all this setup on here, to see right here where the bubbles are coming out. That's actually a rubber grommet there as well for our impulse. And so I really think just kind of resealing all this would suffice. But I'm going to look for the boot. If I don't find the boot, then I'll probably wait until morning to call my neighbor, since he's not coming over until after work, and ask him, would you like to save money and I can Yamabond this and I think you will be okay? Or would you like to? They're not, these little ones are not that expensive. I think the aftermarkets are like $7.50 and the OEMs are only like $12 or $15. So it's not that bad, but it is just a piece of rubber. And then we will take this. This one actually looks damaged, and that might be our issue. We will take that out, inspect it. Whoops. Yeah, it is kind of squished right there a little bit. You can see right there is deformed, okay? But again, Yamabond could work. So I think I will. I think I'll defer to my neighbor and see what he would prefer. I have no problem on these setups. Sometimes I won't do redneck ingenuity like that. Sometimes I will. But with this setup, I definitely have no problem. If my neighbor wants to save money, I can say, yeah, neighbor, we can Yamabond that for you if you want. It'd be nice to replace this though, because it's kind of missing a chunk right there. Unless it's meant to be formed like that, and that would be the bottom. No, because it wouldn't go in that far. So we'll ultrasonic these parts, look for our OEMs, and then neighbors, I have a feeling that once we do that, our saw will probably run right, because it runs, it just doesn't idle. It runs at full throttle perfectly fine. It throttles up almost perfectly fine. It just does not idle, and an air leak like that will cause that problem. So that's going to be it, neighbors. Until next time, be kind to one another. Everyone's facing a battle. I told you I'd update you on this saw if I found something different. Just like on the 251s, I didn't find nothing different, so that's why you didn't get a new video on those. I just updated you in a video on another saw what was going on with those saws. So I'm tired of selling. That's why I'm rambling and probably make no sense. I'm gonna go wash my ass and go to bed, neighbors. I love all of you neighbors, even though I really suck at it. Oh, by the way, hashtag persevere, right? Okay, hashtag persevere. Okay. Whoops. You only fail if you quit. Okay? So we're not quitting. We're just quitting for tonight. Okay, that's it, neighbors. Love you guys. Till next time.